Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rslash Tales from Call Centers. In today's episode, beware of bubble bread and pantyhose. No pressure. WFH bandwidth issues. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Beware of bubble bread and pantyhose. Happy Sunday, peeps. I've had two quite memorable calls in the last week, complete opposite ends of the spectrum. I work from home for a large retailer, and while it killed me to go back to customer service after trying to break free, somehow I always get *ked back into the matrix. Anyways, I am super grateful to be working from home and have great, although expensive, insurance, so back to customer service it is for a while anyhow. Last week a customer called me hysterically crying before she ever spoke a word. In between sobs she tells me we sent her bubble bread when she asked for cookies. Cookies. Not cookie mix. Ready-made cookies. She was completely in hysterics as to why would we send her bubble bread when she can't cook. I was so confused, I didn't really know what bubble bread was, kept wondering if it was like monkey bread, but I had no idea we even sold bread mix. She finally sobs out why she's so upset. She's blind, and she absolutely cannot cook, and why would we send her bubble bread when she ordered cookies? Not cookie mix. Cookies that were already made. Where are her cookies? I'm trying to get her to stop crying. I can fix this if she just stop crying. I'm also wondering how she knows what we send if she's blind, and why this is making her cry instead of her just being annoyed and letting me resolve the issue. She finally spits out that she's legally blind, she has bubble bread already in the cabinet, and now she has more she has to get rid of, and she finally lets it slip that she may have discussed bubble bread with the rep she spoke to. Normally, okay, not necessary to know, except that she kept demanding to know why we sent something she couldn't use and didn't ask for. I'm ashamed to say it took me halfway through the call, of course apologetic the whole time but just confused as to the extreme reaction, before I finally realized she was terrified to cook, so her being sent something to bake just made her feel helpless and frustrated. I can't imagine how I'd feel in her shoes, and I felt terrible that a simple order mistake made her feel this awful. I begged her to stop crying. I spent 20 minutes consoling her before she stopped crying. She didn't even care that I fully refunded her. She was just upset she got something not safe for her to use. 20 minutes straight of hysterical sobbing, 9 minutes of her finally regaining her composure, a full refund processed, and constant reassurances that her cookies were absolutely on their way and were ready-made, she did not have to cook them. I felt bad for her, but that was a lot. Like a lot. I could have used an hour lunch break after that one, lol. Just tonight I got a strange call from a guy who says he has 2-item hashtag as he wants me to check. He's calling for his grandma. So they both turn out to be pantyhose. He wants me to go through, slowly, and let him write down exactly what the item description is. At first I think nothing of it, but as he keeps asking me to describe them, and I keep having to repeat the words pantyhose, I start to feel weird, and I'm thinking like, okay, this guy is pranking me. He asks me to tell him what others we have, so I go to our website and start telling him what's there. He wants me to read the review of one. I'm getting annoyed. He wanted me to read it word for word, and it was a huge paragraph, and the person had written the word pantyhose so many times I was like, no, I can't. I said no, I'm sorry, it's too long, hold on please, just a minute. Well, we are supposed to make sure they say yes first, we get coached if we don't, but I wasn't waiting for this creep to say yes. I put him on hold trying to figure out what I'm going to say next. When I see myself back and ready, he had instantly hung up, lol. I have a killer boss who called me a few minutes later after my last call trying to make sure I wasn't traumatized. I'm not, thank goodness. I didn't hear him doing anything weird, thank God for small favors. And my boss laughed with me and then promptly told me I could look forward to the summer, when the guy who has a thing about toes calls in to ask us about our toes and what toenail polish we are wearing. Shudders. Oh goody. Why are guys so weird? Please do not send me any weird PMs, lol. Don't waste your time. So what's bubble bread? LOL, our mix doesn't look nearly as good as the regular recipes. I still don't really know. Description: all it takes is an egg, a carbonated beverage, and one of these Maryland's gluten-free bubble bread mixes, and you've got everything you need to whip up a delicious baked beauty for the entire family to enjoy. From Maryland's Gourmet. It's usually called monkey bread because you pick at it, instead of eating it sliced or whole. When they toes guy calls. Oh, I can't wear any right now, I have this wicked fungus. I might actually lose another toe because of it. Oh well, at least it's not the big one. LOL. I love it. I only have to remember it now for 7 months. I used to be a 411 operator. The perverts. We had the big toe guy, who wanted to *CK on our big toes. The guy who wanted to know if we were wearing pantyhose. The guy who kissed a guy last night and did I think that was wrong. And we had the Milpitas guy. Remember when a person would call 411, the operator would ask what city? This guy would answer Milpitas and start jerking off. This guy would call repeatedly. Sometimes all day. One day I got him in the morning and afternoon. I told him he had amazing stamina. He hung up. That was one pervert we were able to catch. Milpitas is obviously the sexiest of cities on the 237. I mean, how can you expect someone to get their jollies from Mountain View? Philistin. Great Mall? HNGGG. /S just in case. I feel really bad for the first person. Her family and state, or country if you're out of the US, has really failed her. When I became blind as an adult, the first thing that I got was enough lessons to be able to go to a center to learn how to live on my own. Within days of being there, I was making eggs, eggplant, cookies, stir-fry, etc. The caller who was crying, she should check out Christine Ha. She won MasterChef, while totally blind, and has her own restaurant. I've known someone born legally blind and cooks because her kids need to eat. Sounds like this caller was coddled and babied so much that she doesn't know how to function. It's a really unfortunate part of going blind, or being born blind. A lot of us get infantilized and aren't allowed to cook lest we burn the house down. I know plenty of totally blind folks who cook, grill, bake, and otherwise handle their own SHT. Assuming she has a sense of smell, she should be able to learn how to cook. It can be done with just hearing or timing, but that's a lot harder. Okay, it would have never occurred to me to PM you until you said that last line. Now for some reason I want to PM you something weird, but then got lazy and said *CK it. LOL, so asking for people not to be creepy makes you want to be so? I did customer service for an online adult novelty retailer. The second guy you got is what we refer to as a beater. Basically, he was likely jerking off while on the phone with you and wanted to use your vocal retelling of the Pantyhose descriptions as FAP material. It's easy to tell who is a beater and who isn't. I had to deal with all sorts of weirdo creeps calling in. Eventually you get the hang of it. The beaters I dealt with were even more gross than the Pantyhose guy or the toes guy. We had special permission to just hang up or be rude to the beaters at my job. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. There's just some god-awful creepy people out there. No pressure. So in my youth I worked in technical support for a, mostly, game company. One of the products I supported was personal organization software that can bundled with Macs. It was kind of buggy, but people that liked it really liked it. It didn't have a separate installer, it was installed when you installed the OS. We didn't like to manually install it over the phone, because it tended to take a long time walking people though dragging things where they go. So one time I got a call from an older lady that needed to install it on a new computer. She needed to install it because it had her doctor's contact information, she couldn't remember his name much less phone number, and she had just had some sort of medical event whereas lost her equilibrium. Like just then. I urged her to call 911, but she insisted we install the program. So I walked her through it, and she was able to get the number. So that is how I saved someone's life in tech support. Yikes. I had someone call once because their landline phone was not working and tell me it was an emergency to get it fixed. Okay, it's always an emergency for anyone whose services are out, as we all know. I ask my questions, they reiterate this is an emergency, they need the phone fixed, because it is hooked up to their heart monitor, and they think they are having a heart attack. So, logically, they use their cell phone, not to call 911, but to call tech support. As one does mid-heart attack. I called 911 immediately after hanging up. WFH bandwidth issues. Hi guys. I worked from home for 6 months without issue. However, recently I've had some complaints that my calls don't come in clear. One of which was from a sup. I've noticed one game that I play also appears laggy the last week or so. I've checked my router and didn't see anyone or anything using it. I've also disconnected anything that might use bandwidth, such as my television, laptop, or phone. I've also run speed tests for my ISP, which came back normal. They also reset my router for me and told me that I wasn't being throttled. Is there some sort of program that might be able to prioritize traffic or something? Try changing the router's Wi-Fi channel from the default 6 to either channel 1 or 10. It could be interference from neighboring wireless networks, especially if you live in an apartment. Other thing to try, do a speed test at moments you have issues and one in the dead middle of the night. Even if you aren't being throttled, it could be that your ISP has more connections set up in your area and the neighbors are using their connection too. This can create a network congestion on the area hub where your connection goes through. The sad thing is that only one ISP is available in the area. Every time I call them, they try to sell me something. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.